to the very first episode of the Patreon special exclusive Girls Gone Wild. This is a historic day. This is a big deal. This is the first time in the history of Boys Gone Wild, the ultimate incel handbook, the Man's Man podcast. We have got a lady on the pod. Please welcome Bebe Cave. How you doing, Beebs?
I'm fine.
Is it quite upsetting hearing my radio voice?
It is. It's truly unappealing.
Really? Yeah. I thought that was kind of like a good way to welcome you in, but I think the key way is to pretend I don't know who you are. Welcome to the show, Bebe. Please take a little load off. So I've heard you've been in a lot of films recently, a lot of moving pictures. You sound like a
mid-noughties radio host who is truly about to kill himself.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe of the demographic, and I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of furious fans who are so upset that I've got a girl on the show, because they're like, finally, this is like a boys only zone in a world being taken over by women. But it's great to have you on. This is Patreon exclusive. Admittedly, a bit of a tack to try and get some of the rabid Cave Sister fan base, who are kind of Harry Potter fans who are in their 30s. They're like the kind of lonely women who would perfectly match the lonely men who are my fans.
Exactly. In a way, it's quite amazing that we brought together maybe two groups of people.
I would love, for them to
are bound to find each other, but probably would have been lonely for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, so I think it's the perfect. Your fans are looking for my fans, and we're going to try and bring them together in this show.
Let's make it happen.
But this is a specific show. I'm not here to speak to Bebe about her life. As we've gone over before, we're not really that interested. We're here for stone cold facts. This is hopefully become a mini series, Girls Gone Wild with Bebe Cave, where we actually talk about do's and don'ts of being a man. Maybe some Girls Gone Wild in the media, in history, whatever. I'm going to get Bebe in as the resident girl. She's going to live in the studio, and we're going to get her out the cage for when she needs to come on and talk about it. So
I like talking about boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, my mouth just filled up with spit as I said that.
That's all right. Welcome to the podcast world. Have a little swig of this. It'll sort you out. So today we're here to talk about men's fashion do's and don'ts. Now, I spend a lot of time with Bebe, and we talk a lot about men's fashion. I've learned a bit about men's fashion from Bebe, and she has some opinions that I think is important to spread the gospel. I think we're going to go through the man's outfit
from ground up.
From ground up. So we're going to start with the shoes, and then work our way up right until the head. What's your view on men's shoes, the trends, what's happening, where you think we're going wrong?
Well, I think this is going to be a common theme for my views on most items of male fashion. But I do think that it comes to less is more, and men look best when it seems like they're not putting a lot of effort in.
Okay.
So if we're talking about shoes...
Yeah.
A very shiny, new-looking, fresh pair of, say, brogues.
Yeah.
Brogues? Well, brogues as an example.
Fine.
I mean, I know that you have... you've worn a brogue in your time.
Sure, yeah.
But if we're taking brogues as an example, something that somebody in the workplace might wear, or somebody out in the town, I would say that the fresher-looking the shoe, the shinier, the newer, the more effort it looks like, the less appealing. You want something that kind of looks scruffy, like you just threw it on and you didn't mean for it to look so good. But, it was purely functional, and it also makes you look really, really handsome. So a scruffy trainer, I would say, is going to be your optimal choice, I think
brogues are a dangerous game, and they're dying out. I think for the modern man, we should talk about trainers, and I definitely think that applies, where it's like, to look good as a man, you've got to look like you've put a tiny bit of effort in. So
but not too much. Not too much so that makes you look... like a tryhard.
But there's a variety of different rules when it comes to that, which come about with I think dirty white guys look quite good with scruffy shoes, and if they have a clean shoe, that implies they've worked too hard. But if you're black, brown, I think having a fresh, clean pair of Jordans, it works. It works. It's just different for some reason.
A white guy with clean trainers looks like he's up to something.
Yeah, if a white guy has two cleaner trainers, he looks like he's up to something.
Or it looks like this is the first day ever
he's trying to scam you.
That he bought trainers to try and get girls.
Yes,
and he will kill you at the end of the evening.
Or he's trying to pretend he's not white. You know? it looks a lot more threatening. But then it seems in non-white communities, it's embarrassing to have dirty shoes. Like, keep your crepes clean. Great. I've also, you're not a fan of the dad shoe.
No, not at all.
How come?
So I just don't like the idea of ironic clothing. I think it's really ridiculous and pretentious. You know, what's embarrassing about wearing things that are just nice? Why do we have to wear things that are ugly in order to seem cool? Like, oh, I don't care about beauty standards, yet you obviously do because you're trying to adhere to them. I think it's silly.
It's a good point, but I would argue dad shoes might come round to post-irony, which is when you've moved beyond irony. You understand the irony within what you're wearing, but you like it genuinely anyway.
I don't think anyone genuinely likes those shoes. They look like big rocks that have clumped around your feet.
It's tough because they are practical, and there's
practical. I mean, what terrain are you crossing that you need something
well,
practical?
I often spontaneously have to do hikes. I'll often be out on the town doing errands, and then it'll be like, oh my God, you've got to come check out what's up this mountain. And then I run straight there. And having dad shoes, having kind of like walking boots as your general fashion means that it's a lot easier to kind of switch terrains, as I often do. That's one thing. Everyone has different lives. Everyone has different lifestyle, and your fashion needs to represent your lifestyle. One key part of my lifestyle is that I cross multiple terrains. That's, you would know this about me. I'm a big terrain crosser. Like that is, a lot of people will only cross one terrain in their life. I'm constantly go from pavement, grassland, marshland, swampland, desert, tundra. You know, that's in 1 week. And that's a big part of me as a man. That's why I need to have practical shoes that are all the, you know, for the whole weather. I'm the Renaissance man, which is multiple terrain.
I think this is actually a really good point when it comes to men's fashion.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, all boys just want to be sort of pioneers somehow. They just want to be adventuring.
Yeah.
So I think that the secret to maybe men's clothes is something that looks functional and fun and fashionable, but also like you could start an adventure. You know?
That's the thing, is what's different.
Like you're going to be able to survive in different climates, maybe get into a couple of like hijinks, snafus, maybe get taken on a ship by some pirates.
No, have some confidence. And you I enjoyed the bit. You got to have some. You got to back yourself.
You're gonna have a lasso because you're gonna be a cowboy.
Yeah, keep going. Point. One more. Do one more and make it even more fun.
You're gonna be an underwater diver.
That was the third one. You've got to end strong, and it was slightly weaker than the last.
Spaceman.
Spaceman. There we go.
You're gonna be a spaceman.
You've got to push the final frontier.
Because actually, at heart, all men are just boys.
Yeah.
Gone wild.
Oh, that's nice to link it back. Thanks you for keeping it on my brand. No, I think you've touched on a good point, which is I notice a lot of you can notice a lot of sexism through fascism.
You can notice a lot of sexism.
That was a Freudian slip, but it also works. I just can't stop making great links. That's how I'm born to broadcast.
That you have.
B2B. I should put that on Instagram bio. B2B. What does that mean? Born to broadcast. But what I've noticed is, for example, I think I talked about this when I first met you. Pockets really sum up what is expected of men and women. Like, you're wearing a dress. Do you have any pockets?
No.
You don't even have no pockets?
No.
Look at that. So she's wearing a dress and she has no pockets.
It would ruin the silhouette.
It'd ruin the silhouette. The woman is the object of the male gaze, hence why she needs to not have pockets. She needs to be purely like a thing to look at. The silhouette is ruined, which is something that is the shape, the vision, where a guy...
The ideal shape of a woman is actually, it's structured like a handle of a teapot.
Yeah.
The smallest part is the most narrow. You could just grab them and pick them up when you want.
Exactly.
Functional.
Not functional. No, because object.
Objective.
Object. You're the passive. You receive.
The subject.
And then men's fashion is all about pockets. Pockets are a huge part of men's fashion.
Because you need to carry tools.
We carry tools.
You need to rebuild things.
Money. Like the privilege is shown with the pockets. And I think certainly moving forward for equality, we need to encourage women to have more pockets, because I think it does put you at disadvantage in the workplace.
You could also think of it as a sort of symptom of capitalism by
yes, please,
by taking away pockets from women.
I'm so hard right now. Go on.
By taking pockets away from women, it means that they they're going to need some way to carry around their stuff, so then they have to get bags.
Yeah.
But what kind of bag? They have to be like 50 different types of bags with different colours, and you have to compete with the other women in your area because they might have a nicer handbag than you. You have to constantly get new bags. Whereas men, they're not thinking about bags so much because they're hands-free. They've just got fucking pockets.
Watch this. I'm so hands-free. I've put my wallet into my phone. I've now managed to do it, so I don't even have to take a wallet out. I'm so practical. I basically never take a bag. You always have a tote bag with you because you don't want to ruin your outfit.
I always have a backpack with a tote bag in it in case that I want a lighter bag for the day. Yeah.
I think socks are a big part of men's fashion for sure. They're becoming way more part of a men's fashion. Like the colour scheme from the bottom of your trouser, your sock and your shoe, that's like 3 colours to play with. That's now coming in with the modern man. What are your views on socks on men?
Well, I quite like a quirky sock.
Yeah.
I like printed socks. Maybe 2 different socks. I'm a fan of that too.
Yeah.
But I also can appreciate that men look very good in white socks with white trainers. I enjoy that aesthetically.
Yeah. I definitely am a huge fan of the white trainers, but you were telling me earlier that you don't like no socks or Invisi socks.
Of course not.
No?
Yeah.
How come?
Well, no socks is disgusting. I don't want to see a man's ankles. Ankles are fragile. I don't want to see a man's fragile ankles.
Why? Because it makes the man look too vulnerable.
Exactly.
That's
I want
really
this man to be able to sweep me off my feet if he's got tiny little fucking lady ankles. I'm not going to want that.
That's a great point.
And then Invisi socks, I mean, don't even get me started.
Because they're worse than no socks.
Exactly. No socks, okay, you're an impractical guy, you're clearly a bit gross, you're clearly a bit lazy, you've got fragile little ankles, but the fact that you decided to forego a sock, in a way, is quite a masculine trait, right?
Sure.
Because you're lazy. An Invisi sock means that you want to give off the appearance of a fragile ankle, but you also want the comfort of actually having a sock. You've chosen
having your cake
to bear
and
that ankle. I mean, it's disgusting, and I hate men that do that.
That's another don't do. Wear socks. Invisi socks are worse than no socks.
Make your sock as visible as possible. Make your ankle look as thick as a tree trunk.
Embrace the sock. Don't show the fragile ankle. It's very off-putting.
Don't show your wrists. Don't show your ankles.
Now we're moving on to what I would argue is the key part of the show. We're discussing trousers and shorts.
I think this whole podcast was sparked by my comment to you that you seem to have been quite blown away by.
Yeah.
Which is that...
It's a huge point, so get ready for a spicy hot take.
Okay. Prove me wrong, but the only shorts that men look good in are sports shorts.
Immediately, I said, you're off your bloody rocker. Get out of my house.
It's controversial.
And then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I think she's completely right.
Give me an example. Go on.
Exactly.
Give me an example.
Shorts.
Absolutely not.
Jorts, horrible.
Absolutely not.
Jorts are a terrible thing.
Jorts are just a jean short, right? I'm not being stupid.
Yeah, they're jean shorts. They are terrible. And you can also get really fat.
Jort is a disgusting word.
You can get really fat jean shorts that don't even touch your knee or anything. They like completely... There's air.
Like a cartoon character, like a Nickelodeon
it's like a really
show. The tiny twig leg and then just the giant shorts like Jimmy Neutron.
You have 5 seconds to draw shorts. That's what comes out. Yes, so I think jean shorts are definitely a no.
Jean shorts. Cargo shorts, disgusting. Are you a dad? Are you on a safari? No. Then you shouldn't be wearing...
Lots of pockets. It's one of the most manly...
Shouldn't be wearing cargo shorts.
It might not look good, but it is arguably one of the most manly pieces of clothing because it's pure practicality, no style, so many pockets, so active. You have so many spaces for like pen knives, bottles of water, multiple terrain. And that's the ultimate man, is someone who crosses multiple terrains.
You need to aim to be 50% practical, I think.
Yeah.
But not 100% practical. 100% practical, that's scary. That looks
Terrifying.
Like you're planning to borrow away somewhere for a while.
Ray Mears is 100% practical.
Exactly. We don't want to be fucking 100%.
You don't want to be Ray Mears.
You want to be 50% max.
Do you know, is anyone who's 0% like a man who's 0% who's gone the other way? I know it's off the top of your head.
Jaden Smith.
Jaden Smith.
That's
okay.
0% practical.
So the ideal man, fashion-wise,
we're
is on a spectrum.
Between 30 and 60.
It's between Ray Mears and Jaden
Smith.
There's lots of different metrics that we sum up how a man should be. Not wanting to try too hard, not wanting to look like he's trying too hard, but try a bit too hard. Wanting to be practical, but not too practical. On this spectrum, brilliant. We touched on this. We're already getting so much wisdom. The ideal practicality of a man is somewhere between Ray Mears and Jaden Smith.
Absolutely.
Lies, the ideal.
You don't want to be at either one of those 2 points. You don't want to be they can pull it off, but only those two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like their job to do that. Mm-hmm. But don't be walking around town looking like Jaden Smith.
With like double hoodies. He has fucking weird shit.
You've got like jeans, but you've only got one leg. The rest is like...
Absolutely. Like there's like a metal arm. He has like a metal arm and like a different... Like he just has a second person in there that doesn't talk.
He looks good until he crosses into a terrain he's not prepared for.
He once hung out with my brother.
Really?
Yeah. When my brother was at LSE, Jaden Smith approached one of my brother's friends when they were on a night out.
What?
He genuinely, like a fucking weirdo, like a lost child at the swimming pool, latched onto this group of geeky boys from LSE and hung out with them all night.
What?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Came back to my brother's flat. My brother's like stinky, disgusting student flat.
What?
And he just hung out with them. It was
Jaden
so
Smith. Was he doing it?
That's
to
what
be
happens
quirky?
when you dress 0% practical, because you just don't understand how life works.
Was he being quirky? Was it patronising? Is it a little bit rude? Like he's a big star. Was he doing
like,
it?
Oh, I deign to hang out with normal people.
Like,
no, it seems like he was just genuinely kind of lonely. He just wanted to hang out. He genuinely wanted to be out of the spotlight and just hang out with some normal people.
That's I don't know how you haven't told me that before.
Yeah,
that is
kind of crazy.
Wild.
Jamie has a photo with him.
What does your brother say about that?
And Jamie's teeth were all black in the photo because he'd been drinking loads of red wine. Like he was a really cool guy. Kind of weird, but like cool guy.
That
just
is
really
mental.
Warm. Isn't that strange?
That is wild.
Yeah.
It's off topic, but
that's a wild boy.
That's a boy
gone wild.
That is a boy gone wild.
Exactly.
But also,
he dresses like he's supposed to be in space.
is a boy gone wild. And they're both very different types of boy gone wild. He's gone out into the wilderness. He's genuinely gone out into the wilderness.
What percent practical do you think that you dress?
I'd say...
I'd say you're pretty 50, actually. You're 50%.
I think I'm slightly... I'd say... would you say 50-50? It's pretty bold. You're saying that I'm the perfect level of practicality.
I think that you dress neither practical nor unpractical. Sorry, I didn't say that properly. I think that you dress neither practical nor impractical. I think I'm between the 40 and 60%. Somewhere between there for sure. But I wouldn't say you could do a bunch of tasks in the clothes that you're wearing.
Fine.
Not all, but not none.
Tasks. No, it's true. Yeah. I could...
You could skateboard.
I could skateboard. I could
run.
Put
up some shelves.
I could play five-a-side.
You could potentially survive in the wilderness, but for 2 days max.
2 days max. Not Ray Mears, who is still out there and he's been there for 25 years. But back to the task at hand. We talked about shorts. We talked about...
We need to talk more about trousers.
We need to talk about trousers.
Okay.
And can you also explain the importance of trousers and why they're so overlooked?
Well, I would say that the man's leg is the portal to his soul.
Okay.
It's not a woman's leg. It's not an object of desire or seduction. Mm-hmm. A man's leg is purely there for functional reasons, to get him around town, if you will. So I would say that the trousers, being the gateway into the man's soul, have to be representative of what kind of impression that man wants to give to the world. Mm-hmm. Do you understand?
Yeah, I do understand.
Okay, so a tight jean. What do you think a tight jean says about a man?
It's alluring. It's effeminate. It's impractical. It's urban. Mm-hmm. And I think I read today a tweet by comedian Rich Wilson that I think is a great point, which is, and he was using it as an advice to young comedians, but I think in general it's a great fashion advice. He's a very stylish man. If you are going to wear tight jeans, if you are going to go down that route, which can work for some people.
No, it can't.
Do you not think?
No. We're not in 2008 anymore. You can't get away with
Okay, I was
jeans.
going to go back to 2008. I think during 2008, kind of the Strokes, Russell Brand, that whole indie scene, I think some people did look quite good.
Sure.
But
sure.
that
we're past that point.
We might come back, but at the moment we're past that point.
Yeah.
But if you are going to wear tight jeans, a pet peeve of mine for sure is where people wear those fucking like spray on jeans. I think we can get some photos of some of the worst jeans. I'll be having them just playing.
Well, it just looks like it's like a massive outline of
yeah. It's like someone's just painted
body.
your leg. But
I don't want to see the silhouette of a man's leg.
Horrible. You don't want to see the shape, the sinews, the fibers.
It's so suggestive, really, in a way. I don't mind seeing a man's leg actually exposed because he's wearing shorts, because that's sporty. You know, that reminds me of like a nice group of healthy young men running around a tennis court. A man in tight jeans, that's not sporty, that's just suggestive. That's like a creepy uncle stroking your arm and saying that you have a nice speaking voice.
Yeah, have some self-respect.
He might as well say that he wants to fuck you, but he hasn't got the balls to do it.
But the problem is with tight jeans is in your top pocket you've got your phone and your wallet, because not everyone's as practical as me making them both one. So you have.
You realise that is essentially the young male version of like the mum phone, where they have the open book wallet. You can't even try and act like that's cool.
That's the practical. This is my Ray Mears. You know, I'm wearing quite an impractical t-shirt that's got a lot of fun, but I'm also practical. That's why I have the perfect balance.
That's actually my shirt as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But if you are wearing tight jeans and you have the fat outline of a wallet and a phone, it looks awful. I think it's better you bring a clutch bag or a tote bag or
You're asking to be robbed.
Just learn from women. They haven't had pockets for about 3,000 years and they've made do. So don't squeeze, either don't wear the jeans or don't put something in. Those are like show pockets. You know, pockets where they have like the things sewn in. Just because they're not sewn in doesn't...
jeggings. They're essentially jeggings.
Yeah. Because that's a very man thing to do. Oh, there's space in this pocket. Let me try and squeeze what I can into it. Doesn't mean just because there is a pocket doesn't mean you should use it. Just because there is a pocket doesn't mean you should use it.
Okay, let's talk about the other end of the spectrum.
Okay.
We're talking about a fat jean.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the worst possible thing that you can do to yourself.
I don't have enough time to think about it, but I think I agree. Off the top of my head, I think it might be the worst.
Let's get some pictures of some fat jeans here.
Easy. Bang. Another one. Boff. No, because don't keep doing it, because I'll have to edit those in. So the more you do it, the more tedious it is for me
pictures
to
every time that I point. Dun, dun, dun,
I'm going to do
dun,
pictures
dun,
of you
dun.
with double chins. If you do that again, I'll get the worst photos I have of you on my phone and put them up. Sorry, thank you for coming on the show.
Okay, so fat jeans.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, obnoxious.
Worst thing ever.
Horrendous.
I hope, but see, I'd normally
ignorant,
anyone
oblivious, rude.
Anyone
suspicious.
in my life socially is vetted to the point where they know fat jeans are terrible, because I wouldn't be friends with them otherwise.
Also, when it's fat at weird points in the leg, when it's weirdly tight at the hips, like you're a cowboy and you need to like sling out a gun, but it's very, very baggy at the ankle.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I used to have really baggy jeans because I saw like some people, because you can get really stylish ones, but they go so far that's like a Jaden Smith style thing. But I had one.
Are you talking about like a bootleg or a wide leg?
No, I'm talking about like stretch jeans, which are like, I got them from Gap. They're like quite stretchy thing, denim, and I thought they looked cool. The crotch, so my cock and balls are here, and it was maybe the actual crotch of the trousers was 2 inch below my actual gooch area.
Yeah, horrendous.
So there's loads of room just flapping about.
It's like a man trying to hide what his body is.
Yeah,
it's like, you're just gonna be a stick man.
I looked like I had learning difficulties. I do, but it really summed it up.
A fat jean in a mid blue denim, like a Gap level denim.
Horrible.
That's offensive to the eyes because it's so lazy. You're not going acid wash. You're not like trying to look cool, a bit retro, a bit 80s. You're not going for a dark denim, which is a bit more trendy, a bit more sort of subtle, a bit more French. Instead, you're just going for the laziest, basic level blue jean, like we're in 2007. And you're in like
don't worry. Just
a mildly successful studio sitcom.
Yeah. I think I wanted to touch on acid wash and distressed denim. I think both of those should be banned as well.
Okay,
I think those should be illegal.
I would say with acid wash, you can get some subtle acid washes that are pretty cool. I like a light denim on a boy with white socks.
Light denim, fine. Is that
trainers.
acid wash? Is light denim acid wash?
I think that it all classifies as acid wash because that's literally how
Maybe
you
I'm thinking
colour
about distressed denim.
You're thinking about acid wash in a very, very
a lot of my dad's
80s way.
Friends. I'm going to link here the episode on my dad. If you know anything about my dad, it all makes sense. But a lot of his kind of friends who are like 50, in their 50s, will wear distressed denim jeans and a blazer. And it's one of the sleaziest things ever. And I really don't like
trying to go smart casual.
Yeah. When I see distressed jeans, I think jeans. When I see distressed jeans, I think, who hurt you?
Yeah, and with rips in the knees and stuff to make it look like you've just been attacked by a bear or something, and that makes you extra manly somehow. Yeah.
And there's people who don't. So here's another thing, I think. There's men who don't care about fashion. That's fair enough. Not everyone needs to. Not everyone should. But there's smart men who I know who I don't care about fashion. I don't want to put much time to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wear a white t-shirt, or a black t-shirt, or a grey jumper. They're not going to be the most stylish person in the party, but they're not going to stand out. I'm going to wear just a normal trainer, a fine-fitting trousers. Those people, where they often go wrong, is they overlook the trouser because they think trousers are all the same. I'm just going to get a jean. It's just going to be blue, it's going to match my kind of grey t-shirt. You can't say I'm dressing bad because it's just a classic look that will never die. But if you don't look at the fit, that's more important than the t-shirt. You could wear an ugly t-shirt but have really good fitting jeans and you'd look much more stylish than a cool t-shirt with awful fitting trousers.
You want a trouser that hints at nice athletic legs, because people like a man with svelte long legs, right? But you don't want it so scandalously tight that it makes it obvious you're trying to point out how nice
it's just
your
slutty.
Exactly. We don't like male sluts.
No, we don't. Not here. Not at this show. We're all about female sluts. Great. Do you think we finished? Any more comments on shorts, trousers, or anything below the belt?
Okay, below the belt.
We've done socks, shoes, trousers, shorts.
I hate it when men wear those athletic leggings. Those are horrible.
Oh God, yeah. But they'll be doing that for a task, won't they? That goes into the practical argument. If they're doing it for something, do they get an excuse?
My argument was that we don't want somebody that's over 60% practical.
You're doing the task?
If you're doing a task, we want to go 60 to 70 max % practical.
Okay, fine.
Okay, and that's going to be a sports short.
Which
we all know is how boys look best.
Okay, what if you're roofing? You're painting a house. Shouldn't you go 100% practical? Or should you still be throwing some stank on it?
I just want people to just not look like they've tried too hard, really. It's embarrassing for everybody involved.
And either side of the spectrum, you look too try hard.
Okay, well, I guess shirts is probably where you can tell the most about a man's personality.
Yeah.
Looking at your shirt collection the other day when you were moving house told me everything that I needed to know about you, that I didn't know about you, and the way that you progressed over the last 5 years. You went for a collared shirt phase.
Right, one sec. I'm gonna get my...
No. Keep it a mystery. Yeah.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
You don't want too many girls sliding into my DMs.
Exactly. Yes. You went through a novelty shirt phase.
Yeah.
And depending on how long any given man has gone through the novelty shirt phase, which they've all gone through, doing the top button up, it's got some sort of quirky print on it, like a pineapple or like a mustache.
Yeah.
How long you went through that phase for and stayed in it stubbornly, despite how terrible it truly looked, is a depiction, quite an accurate one, I would say, of a man's IQ.
Really? So the longer, the dumber? Really? But I think you have to be a certain IQ to even attempt it.
That's true.
Because I don't think I'm talking 60 IQ, bottom feeder of society.
They're not going to be trying novelty shirts.
They're novelty, so it's like there's a sweet spot for sure. I used to have a Vote for Pedro t-shirt. It's my favourite t-shirt.
I would argue that's not what I would define as a shirt, as a novelty shirt. That's a quirky t-shirt.
That's novelty. That's a film prop I'm wearing on my t-shirt.
I know at least 4 boys with the Vote for Pedro t-shirt.
Exactly. It's awful. I wish I'd never done it. But we're here to learn. And look, I've got a lot of young listeners. a lot of men who are trying to find their way in the world, this is all important. This is like Queer Eye for a Straight Guy. Something I hate is kind of Quicksilver, surf sort of T-shirts with like kind of messy scribbled logos on them, like especially like Quicksilver, Fat Face, that kind. That's the line between Fat Face is
in every small suburban town centre,
anywhere near the coast as well.
And every single time that you pass by it with one of your parents, they've always said, "Oh, maybe we can go in and get you something from here."
Oh my god, yes! This is my mum. Whenever my big problem actually, and this is another advice to young men, is to save money. I just let my mum, and I borrowed my dad's clothes when he was finished with them, and I let my mum buy what she wanted for me, and I was like, this is great, I don't have to buy clothes, I can save money. Terrible mistake. It's a bad habit. I was putting pieces together from my dad's terrible clothes that were too weird for him, mixed in with this kind of cucky, innocent idea of what my mum thought I was. So I was wearing these knitted jumpers with these really camp sort of like Mykonos nightclub owner shirts. It was genuinely a terrible phase. So I understand not everyone can be in the financial situation to do it, but if you can, make sure you buy your own clothes. You can get good cheap stuff from vintage, but try and stay away from letting your mum buy you anything. Or at least if you're getting your mum to buy you clothes for Christmas, make sure you specifically find the ones. Get the links. Find the clothes that you want, because it really changes your identity if you don't. We're not choosing your own clothes.
I would say keep it simple when it comes to shirts.
Yeah.
A nice plain t-shirt, or my personal favorite, t-shirts with animals on. I've said this before and I'll say it again, but I think that the ideal man is Brett from Flight of the Conchords.
It's a good point. Yeah, I think that's a good shout.
He wears nice animal print vintage t-shirts. They look worn. They look soft. They look unthreatening, and he likes a nice soft boy jumper too.
Okay, and that on the scales that we've so far got, which is between trying too hard, not trying hard enough, he falls in
perfectly in the range of. He doesn't look like he's really tried that much at all, but he just looks effortlessly dishevelled.
It's still clean though, isn't it?
Yeah, he looks clean. He looks soft and warm, like he's going to give you a hug and stroke your hair and not try and sodomize you.
Sure. Well, you say someone who...
And the fact is, those types are more likely to.
Yeah, so you say
that's what makes it so deceptive.
That's the problem with men, as we're finding out. They're actually, quite duplicitous as a breed.
Because clothes can really be used as a weapon.
Yeah,
you can dress like a soft boy, but actually you're a fuck boy. And that's what really throws a girl's scent off.
Can you explain... you explained this quite well to me earlier, actually, the soft cuck boy, jumper boy, and what that is.
Okay, well, he wears soft jumpers, oversized, in the colours between teal, lilac, maybe a burgundy, rarely bright primary colours, I would say. We're not talking red, yellow, royal blue, because that's just a bit too basic for him.
For sure.
He wants to go something that looks like it's straight out of an Urban Outfitters catalogue, but not actually from Urban Outfitters, because that would be embarrassing.
Yeah.
And he also looks like he just wants to hold you in his arms and read you out poetry that he's written. But actually, all he wants to do is clasp onto the ends of the jumper.
Oh my God, horrible.
Say how cold he is. Ooh. And be like, oh, I'm a bit chilly. Maybe you can give me a blowjob to make me feel better. And then never speak to you again.
Or go down on you. Not generous lovers.
Not once. 6 months relationship, not once. Yeah. Not talking from personal experience.
Yeah, it's these soft, cucky boys who are like, I'm not threatening.
I'm just a little baby.
They're lazy.
They're the male equivalent
of a pillow queen.
They're the male equivalent of a pillow queen / pillow princess. Or the girls on Instagram who dress like those e-girls, the little, the cottagecore type. Yeah. Kind of like very anime. Kawaii, right? Yeah. Trying to make themselves look like female cosplay. But actually, they just want to be brutally fucked.
Sure. So yeah,
it's this funny contrast that you get with the way that people
clothes,
dress.
Yeah, for sure. How do you
Boys that dress very, very soft actually want to fuck you over the hardest.
Oh, for sure. The fuck boy, definitely.
I would trust a man in a more kind of traditionally masculine outfit, not tight jeans and one of those like
that's
really,
not traditionally
really
masculine. The idea of a traditional man is not wearing boohoo man spray on jeans.
Yeah. And who is boohoo man?
Who is the boohoo man? Boohoo man, is that the worst brand?
Maybe he's all of us.
Is it the worst brand you can?
Giacomo,
Boohoo
Top
man.
Top Man. I mean, I don't really think anybody.
Top Man. You can. I could still see someone getting bits and bobs from there. No. Okay, maybe not. I think Superdry, Hollister, Jack Wills are still
awful.
All terrible.
But weirdly, if you think of a group of lads, right? What are they wearing? They're out on the town. They're walking in a group of 6 in a diamond shape.
Yes, because it's the most. It's like a missile.
Exactly.
You have the leader at the
it's
front.
It's the most efficient way of streamlining way through.
Yeah, you have the small ones on the side because then the wind can blow off them easier.
Exactly. Exactly. And the big fucking musty one at the front. He's got the tightest jeans on. Okay, so you can fully see his erect penis.
And he has the tightest jeans on, and he has the thickest wallet. He keeps a lot of receipts. He gets very paranoid about returning things.
Exactly. And he's wearing a very, very tight button-down shirt.
Ugh.
Very, very tight. So when you said that's not what a masculine man looks like, it actually is.
It is now.
That's actually where masculinity has led us to.
Yeah.
Looking like a fucking leader of a dance troupe. Looking like diversity in 2010.
Yeah.
Although they weren't really wearing tight jeans, were they?
They were wearing baggy jeans.
They were wearing baggy jeans.
Like sideways hats. That's a for another podcast.
Okay, yeah, cut that
diversity. You don't need to cut it out, but we can do it as a teaser. We'll get her on next week to talk about diversity, because I think we've got about an hour to talk about diversity, and break dancing and graffiti.
You're right. I think men that wear Hollister now, given how uncool we all know it is, men that still defy that logic and wear it, they truly are heinous on a different level.
Yeah, all agreed.
But I mean, the funny thing is, soft boys who dress nicely, who dress appealing, who you see walking down the street carrying a skateboard that they probably never actually ride, or they're carrying the skateboard on the
glasses with frames that have no actual. They're like just glass.
Truly, it's just aesthetic.
Yeah, it's just aesthetic. Yeah.
And they have the long floppy hair like Timothée Chalamet.
Sure.
They're actually the sadists.
They're the dark ones for sure. Whereas Ray Mears is the guy who's actually going to treat you well.
Because he's 100% practical.
He's 100% man.
And he knows that if you want to have 100% practical sex, you go down on a lady.
Ray Mears goes down on his missus like it's no tomorrow.
Exactly.
He goes down like he's tracking Raoul Moat. So you know, Raoul Moat, the serial killer who killed, I think, his ex-wife back in 2012. He escaped from Britain, and then there was a manhunt that lasted 10 days. It was big news. It was revealed 3 days later that Ray Mears tracked him down. Now, that was one of my favourite things. I've become obsessed with the story. I'm not going to talk about it here because it deserves its own episode, but I just have to get it off my chest that the biggest serial killer in the UK for like 10 years was on the loose. There was a manhunt, and they got Ray Mears to track him down.
If you got one man to call.
The idea they got the TV's Ray Mears to track him down is hilarious. Just the idea of him scurrying across the field, like smelling the earth, saying, Raoul went this way. I think about it all the time. But now's not the time.
No.
We're reaching the top of the man. Let's talk about facial hair. We're very nearly at the end of the show. We're very near the end of the man. What are your thoughts on facial hair?
I was going to say very near the end of our relationship.
Maybe. Well, how this is fucking gone. It looks like there's not much time left.
Okay, facial hair. For me, I'm not a huge fan of it, especially when it's excessive. But I also have taken on your point, which is that the more facial hair you have and the areas that you have it dictate how good looking that area of your face is.
So actually, let me lay this theory out. I believe that facial hair is good. Facial hair makes people more attractive, but the more attractive you are, the less facial hair you need. So, pour exemplaire, gorgeous 10 out of 10, perfect, chiseled, amazing jawlines, great noses, strong Roman noses. You don't need any facial hair, and you're still gorgeous. That's why Hollywood leading men, though there might be some designer stubble when they're offset, they can shave all their beard hair off, and they all look brilliant because they got an amazing cheekbone structure. if you're a chinless wonder, if you've got no chin and it goes from your lip to the bottom of your neck and it's all just straight and you don't know, there's no deviation or definition, then you need as big a beard as possible. So that's why when you see a man with a huge beard, it means they have no jawline. Mm-hmm. But that's fine. That's the right thing to do. But it is a sign. It's like when men wear caps. It means they're balding. Mm-hmm. Which are both good moves to do, but it's still what it implies. Mm-hmm. For example, apply that to me. I have a moustache, meaning I have good cheekbones. I'm happy with those. But I've got a snub little nose that's like a sawn-off shotgun. So having facial hair, moustache means that I've accepted there's some good things, there's some bad things, but the compromise is a moustache.
He's balancing it out. He's balancing it out.
That's
why I've got long
ugly,
hair, because I haven't got a good jawline.
I'm not ugly enough to have a huge bushy beard, but I'm not good looking enough to have no facial hair.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I asked you what your opinions were, and then I just went on a whole rant on myself.
Well, you laid it down, babe.
I laid it out. I laid it out in the dojo. Do you have any thoughts on men's hair?
I do.
To close it.
The longer the better. Up to a certain point.
Go on, expand.
So I think that it adds softness to a man's face. Mm-hmm. It makes them look kind of rugged and scruffy, which I think is appealing, because I've said to you so many times, my favourite quality in men is boyishness.
Sure.
That's not lewdness or immaturity. Boyishness is a very special, intangible quality that evokes some sort of Peter Pan-ness, a lost boy quality where they seem like they're just going to take you on a bit of a magical adventure. It's sort of like the equivalent of a girl being a bit of a manic pixie dream girl. It's probably not completely real. No,
because manic pixie dream girl is one fake and one unappealing. Boyishness, from the way you described to me, is very authentic when it's realised.
Boyishness is sort of, it's like silliness, it's youthfulness, and it's just incredibly charming, and it's something that only boys have. And I think that scruffy hair... Yeah.
There's lots of boys who aren't boyish.
Of course, plenty of boys that aren't boyish. Yeah. But boyishness is very attractive. And I think that having a really short back and sides like you're in the army, that doesn't really lend itself very well to boyishness.
Yeah,
whereas
you're like a torpedo missile. Mm-hmm, it looks scary. It looks like they're going to come.
Boyishness isn't about being practical. So scruffy hair, even though it's slightly more impractical, very boyish. But once it gets past a certain point, then you just look
army men are
unkempt.
very practical, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so to round it up, the conclusive things on the men's do's and don'ts. The ideal man's aesthetic and kind of fashion outlook kind of goes across three sort of lines, which is not trying too hard, but trying enough. Mm-hmm. That's one spectrum. Ray Mears to Jane Smith, which is 100% practical to 0% practical, finding a way in between there. Mm-hmm. And then boyishness, which should be the centre of what spectrum? Can we get a spectrum? What's too far?
Okay. Well, there's hyper-masculinity and then there's effeminate, isn't there?
Yes.
And boyishness is your centre point.
Yes, you got it. That's the final. We've laid it out pretty well.
So who's a hyper-masculine man? Who's a hyper-masculine man?
A hyper-masculine man in a negative sense. So...
Joe Rogan, hair.
So we're going on this third spectrum, which is boyishness, where boyishness is the perfect mixture between too effeminate and too masculine. So like someone like Eddie Redmayne, it's too soft. He's like a beautiful woman. You can admire him as like a porcelain doll, but there's just a lack of... It almost feels like men who are too effeminate. It's not like a kind of thing saying they shouldn't be. It's more that it feels like you're trying too hard if you are effeminate. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel authentic somehow. And then if you're too masculine, it also feels scary.
Completely inauthentic, like you're just pumped up on steroids.
So to conclude, it looks like the way that we describe the do's and don'ts of men's fashion, we've talked about the specifics of the clothes, but it's more of an existential, spiritual balancing, harmony that comes from balancing three spectrums, which is trying too hard, not trying hard enough, being 100% practical, being 0% practical, finding a way in between that sweet spot, and being hyper effeminate, hyper masculine, being boyish. That seems to be the way.
And what's funny is what links all of those scales is that actually the ideal man is somebody that looks like he's kind of just born with it. Like he doesn't actually have to try that hard. Even if in lots of different ways you are trying really hard, but you're just very good at disguising it by like getting it right.
Yeah.
What the ideal man to us looks like is somebody that's just sort of rolls out of bed and just puts on the clothes that he has and just is there and looks great. Yeah. But what makes women different in that way is that the most attractive women are the ones that do look like they put in a bit of effort. Yeah. Not too much, but it's still something, you know?
We'll do another episode on women, actually. But that's pretty much it. And you'd say the perfect man aesthetically is Brett from Flight of the Conchords.
Brett from Flight of the Conchords or Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson, wow. Owen Wilson, who I'm obsessed with. Wow. Yeah, that's good. You got any final closing statements, or have you said everything? I think you dressed
very nicely.
Thank you very much. This has been the first episode of Girls Gone Wild with Bebe Cave. Thank you for patrons subscribing. We really appreciate it. We'll be doing this again. Comment if you like it. Comment if you want us to do more. And stay boyish. Is that a way to end it?
Stay boyish, baby.
Stay boyish, baby bitch.